Next, I think we should talk about the North. Just keep going.
Let's do it.
Keep going that clockwise. Last year, Cincinnati, 4-11-1. They tied with the Eagles, which is my favorite thing of the year.
What was their record again? Sorry.
They were 4-11-1. Cincinnati let their quarterback Joe Burrow literally die on field, and I think that summed up the season for him. Really. What's with the Bengals and quarterbacks dying? Because Palmer died. Andy Dalton is a ginger, so he doesn't count.
They just don't know how to construct a team. I mean, they obviously get very high draft picks almost every single year because they don't really know how to do it. Like, they clearly have an owner that is just happy to own a team.
Yeah, he had.
And it doesn't want to be competitive.
He had Marvin Lewis in there for at least like a decade plus. Like he was there. I think he was there till Taylor, right? So
to his credit, he at least got him to the playoffs quite a bit.
They were honestly, if they weren't in the playoffs, they were at least mediocre. Now the Bengals recently though have been just kind of like
trash,
straight trash. They don't have Burfict anymore though, which is good.
That's a plus.
AJ Green has left.
Gone.
So the kind of Bengals of the 2010s, that whole team is kind of disappearing. Do they still have Geno Atkins?
Yes, okay. I believe so.
So let's try and move him ASAP because he does not deserve that.
To the Minnesota Vikings, please. We don't have Cap. There's no way that will really happen.
What do you think Burrow is going to do this year? Because you saw the picture. I'll probably put it on the screen. It is a giant fucking scar on his knee. It's huge, man.
That dude is so tough. He'll come out and he will sling it like it didn't even happen.
I hope so.
And I just really hope that they figure some way out to get him some more help.
To get him traded, yeah.
Well, that would be the best for him, but
we're Burrow boys.
I hope that he will not die like he did last year because that was hard to watch. Because of how much he gave that team to die, it was just tough. It was tough to see.
Yeah. And like they didn't, so in the draft they had the chance to draft the best tackle, Penei Sewell, but they decided to draft his former teammate from LSU, Jamar Chase. Not a bad draft pick. Chase will probably be a good wideout, but after he had the Theismann injury. Theismann didn't play football again. Like, how...
It was bad.
How do you how do you think that this is the right move?
It doesn't really make sense to me, unless Burrow was just saying, nah, give me Jamar Chase. Because I mean, they did play together. Maybe he just said, we'll figure the line out later. Just give me that guy because we played that well together. But, yeah, it's like you can't complete the ball if you don't have time. You need a line. So I don't know what the plan is with that. Who's their backup? Does Cincinnati have a backup? It's not Finley anymore.
I'll look them up for you. The backup is a man by the name... Oh, it's Brandon Allen. Former
Let's hope we
Ram.
don't see any Allen this year.
Yeah, I hope not. I think if Burrow comes back, I think you'll keep slinging it. Just keep a close eye on him, Cincy. I think Zach Taylor, though, is an awful coach. He hasn't shown any... His players don't show fight for him. He loses games. He's just such a boring pick to have as your coach.
There's nothing particularly about the team that
the Bengals don't have an identity.
Points to the fact that he might have any kind of... Because, like, even bad teams, when they have a good coach, usually have something to point to. Oh, there's some promise here.
The Bengals...
But that's just not the
case.
The
Bengals are just...
Like, Denver was really bad last year, but their defense had its moments. You know what I mean? Like, there's usually something.
Yeah,
but not for
Fangio's like a defense guy. Taylor is he was an OC. But like, you watch the games, it's just fucking Burrow. running around for his life, trying to find someone open. I think they're just going to pretty much have the exact same season over again. They didn't really do anything. The team that finished third, I kind of forgot about this. Cleveland, 11-5. I forgot that the Ravens
made the playoffs.
Yeah, Cleveland finally, first time since 2002. It's been a while.
It was fun to watch.
Oh, they're a fun team in general.
Especially in that playoff game.
That was amazing, dude. Finally, the Steelers just get fucking... It was like when Tebow beat the Steelers. Anytime the Steelers get kind of knocked down a peg, I always like it.
I forgot that Tebow beat the Steelers, man. Oh, my God.
Tebow Jags, let's go.
Number 1.
The Browns. New head coach, Stefanski.
I gotta re-record. I do know Stefanski. Okay, now you can edit that in. Like
Stefanski
there wasn't a pause.
had a... Okay, thanks. I'm going to keep that part in, though.
Of course.
Stefanski, though, like, man, coach of the year, my guy. What a fucking year.
It's interesting because while Stefanski was... he became our OC. I wasn't actually the biggest fan when he was with us.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that to me. When they first hired him, you were kind of suspicious of him, how he'd do.
Yeah, and I don't think I was ever a huge fan. It was more of a product of Cousins being Cousins, though, because it's interesting because Stefanski maximized Cousins for sure, looking back at it. And I think that Stefanski was a much better coach than I ever gave him credit for, because he was able to figure out the best available offense for the Cousins offense. And this last year was kind of a disaster because he left and we had we just didn't have as good of a year. So I think that Stefanski's a really good coach, and you saw that with them making the playoffs and even winning a playoff game while he was in his basement with COVID.
I wonder what they're gonna do with OBJ. If he's gonna be just a trade piece.
I think you keep him. I mean, I don't see them trading him, you know, because like as much as people talk about how much better they were without him, like at the same time, like most teams are better later in the year. So it's like, it's tough to say like it's definitely because OBJ got injured that they got better. Like, sorry, Colin, but I just feel like they're gonna I feel like they're gonna keep him, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad move to.
I personally would also keep him. I do think it's alarming though that his numbers with Baker, especially because Baker, he's gonna be the Browns quarterback. Like, I'm sorry guys, he's the only quarterback that's been somewhat good for you guys.
They're not gonna let him go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Baker gets some flack. He played fairly well down the stretch. They added Clowney. Clowney's their big free agent guy, pairing them up with Myles
I don't
Garrett.
think it does anything.
I don't think it matters because Garrett is that good. Garrett's
monster. So good that him being there is just maybe he's there.
He'll just beat the shit out of Clowney with his helmet if he doesn't fucking produce anything.
Oh my God.
Next is Baltimore. They went 11-5 thanks to Lamar Jackson shitting himself during games. I was watching that game. I actually didn't have work. It was legendary. Yeah,
me as well. It was good.
He 100% was taking a shit though. Like, everyone knows that's what he did. Had to take a dump. Why are we discussing this? He shat himself. That's all we know. I think the Ravens are good until they have to pass the football. I don't think that's because of Lamar, though. And I do always shit talk Lamar Jackson. But I don't think he's been given a fair shot at, like, throwing the football. Because look at who is he throwing to? His best target is Mark Andrews, but he's a different type of tight end from like a Kelsey or even like a Ertz. He's more of like
Right.
a Witten type of tight end. Run your route, stay there. The ball will be thrown to you. But he's never had like a number one. Hollywood Brown is okay, but he's more like a speedy guy, like a kind of like a
He's like a
slot
Scotty
speed guy.
Miller. He's quick
Yeah,
and he's good, but he's
he's
also a
not like
little guy,
he's
so
not
it's
Hill
hard to get
quick.
him the ball sometimes. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's not Hill, no.
I think, and like, dude, I mean, it says something when fucking Des Bryant caught like, I think he caught the most touchdowns for their wideouts, and it was only like 3. What do you think of Lamar's throwing ability? Just kind of the whole passing game in general? Because that's been the
To
Ravens' whole
me,
thing.
hmm I think it's overblown. I mean, I think that it's definitely been an issue, but at the same time, like, I think that their offense is just a run-oriented kind of a thing, and I don't necessarily think that's an indictment on his ability. Um, I think they can still be successful without him being the best passer, but I think he's better than people give him credit for. Um, like he had an MVP season, and he wouldn't have been the he wasn't just the MVP because of his running ability. I mean, he
Yeah.
could pass the ball.
His
Um,
the spirals he throws though sometimes you can see that they are like weaker than other quarterbacks though.
sure. I mean, I'm not saying he's the best pure passer.
Mm.
But I just think that he's a baller. I think he gets the job done and he figures it out.
He's
I
very
mean, like I
Vic-esque.
said, he won the MVP. He figured it out. Yeah, like Michael Vick was very successful, and he was criticized as much, if not more, for only being a guy who got the snap, looked at his first read, and then ran.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that it's a problem, but I don't think it's as massive of a problem that it gets talked about. I think the
Hmm.
media hypes it up a little bit more than it needs to be.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I do think that Lamar is probably one of the more hated quarterbacks. Like, there's some quarterbacks where it's trendy to hate on him. I think Lamar might be the number one just because of the meme of him being a running back. I
Yeah,
do think the they have that defense, so they should be good. Um, you think they bring back Earl Thomas
no,
for some Bukakis?
no one wants to touch Earl Thomas or his brother. Okay, nobody wants any of that.
Last team in the division here was Pittsburgh. They went 12-4. They were the undefeated team for a while there. They almost lost
They
to
sure
Cowboys.
were.
That would have been legendary. Who beat them finally? Wasn't it football team?
It was the
I
football
think
team.
it was football team, right? Yeah. And
It
then
was
they
the
just
greatest
kept
football
losing
team of all, the football team.
'cause they lost to
Yeah, they
them.
just sucked after that.
Did I think the Ravens beat them with RG3? Or did they? No, they won that game.
RG3.
I know the
Oh,
Bengals
man.
beat them. And
Yeah.
that's when Juju was doing the whole TikTok bullshit. The
Oh, yeah.
Steelers are very unlikable. I
They
always
make it
haven't,
so easy to hate them.
even though I'm not I've never been a big Steelers guy because of the team I rooted for, but I at least like respected them in a sense. But they have just these players that piss me off, man. Like Le'Veon was there, and they had AB and Big Ben like fucking raping and driving his motorcycle, and then they have fucking Juju TikToking and Claypool's a little bitch from Canada. Like, and they drafted Najee Harris, and I don't know why Najee Harris is getting a really good fantasy football projections. I don't know what this
Because
rant
he's
is
going to be
about.
the number one guy there. They're going to need him. That's why.
Because Big Ben ain't
It's more
throwing
about
shit.
their need. Well, he's going to throw stuff, but he's going to throw it 3 yards. And, one of his big targets 3 yards down the field is probably going to be Harris. So they're going to need him. He belongs in jail. But he
Yeah.
also belongs on his couch because he should not be playing football anymore.
Yeah. their O-line is really bad. So picking hairs first. Some people have questioned it.
Yeah,
Some
who's
people
gonna
want
block for him?
Tomlin though to be fired.
That's tough, man. That's a tough. It's a tough demand.
I think Tomlin's a good coach though, but there's
I
no
think he's a really
denying
good
his
coach.
lack of success recently in the playoffs, especially.
Sure, that's a good point. Yeah, it's hard to. I don't feel like I'm the best judge of coaches. It's tough to say that you should move on from Tomlin, because of his reputation. But I also get it because yeah, you're right. They haven't had the success recently in the playoffs. Is that a Tomlin thing? Is that because Big Ben gets older and older every year? Is it because they hold on to core pieces longer than they should? I don't know. I don't know the answer there.
It's definitely the same question that Seahawk fans need to have about Carroll, where, is it
Go
worth
Hawks.
it being super good all year, getting that 11-5 plus record, and then losing in the second round, or would you want to bring a fresh face in who might be able to motivate the team to the Super Bowl? They've only had 3 coaches, in the modern era. I don't think people realize that. Only 3 or 4.
They're stuck in their ways.
Yeah.
They do what they do. They're the Steelers forever.
But what's your standing for the North for this year?
All right. I feel like this is going to be the first one where ours are different when it comes to the order. So the bottom, I have Cincinnati going 4-13. Like we said earlier, they suck. I mean, they're just they suck. Like, what are you going to do? I think that Burrow wins them 4 games because I think he's really good, and I think that if they had a competent coach and a few years of good rebuilding, they'd be a pretty good team. But yeah, they suck. 4-13. Then I have Pittsburgh taking quite a step back. I mean, this is quite a prediction. This is another hot take. Okay, this is a Max Kellerman level take.
Oh, thank God.
They're going all the way down to 6-11.
Oh.
They are going to suck. They are going to have a very rough year.
That is a fire take.
I don't see Big Ben doing anything valuable this year. I think he was already pretty shot. I think they're just going to have a really bad year. They're not going to gel. There's going to be a lot of drama. Big Ben's all about drama. Everything's, everyone else's fault. It'll drag down the team 6-11, and they'll have to blow everything up. That's my prediction. That's a very spicy take there. Number 2, I have Cleveland going 10-7. They're going to have a pretty good year. I don't remember what was their record again last year.
They were 11-5, I do believe.
11-5. Okay.
Yeah, them and Baltimore had the same record, but Baltimore had the tiebreaker.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, I think that they're gonna have a good year. I guess a little worse than last year, but still very solid. They'll make the playoffs 10-7. And then I have number 1 Baltimore. I'm going to say that they have a very surprisingly good year, and they go 14-3, which is the same record I have as Kansas City. I think they lose to Kansas City in the regular season game that they have, but them having the same record is very important when it comes to our later talk of the playoffs. But Baltimore, I think that they have been due for a ridiculously good season. I think that last year injuries and Lamar Jackson's bowels got in the way.
The COVID.
And that they're going to have a really great season, COVID-free this year. I think that every year, although I think that your critiques of the passing game is very valid, but I think that every year he is getting better with passing, and I think he's going to take a step forward. I think they're going to have a great year, go 14-3.
Okay,
Thoughts?
so
You?
what I have at the bottom, of course, are the Bengals, 4-13 as well. I mean, they're just not constructed very well. It's just Burrow. hopefully Chase is a good weapon. Like, they were fucking balling at LSU. Next, I have Pittsburgh at 9-8. I don't think they'll regress that bad. I think Tomlin is a good coach. Big Ben is the only thing that worries me, really. But they were able to go 12-4 last year. So next I have Baltimore. I have Baltimore going 10-7.
Okay.
Baltimore and Pittsburgh have tougher schedules. And these top three teams, I do think the gap that was kind of separating them the past years has kind of slimmed down. Not as, like, not as bad as, like, the NFC West. The West is a fucking slaughter fest, but I don't really have a reason for why Baltimore was 10-7 other than just, like, their schedule and who I picked them against. It just ended up being like that. And I have Cleveland going 12-5. I think Cleveland gets the benefit of having the weakest schedule out of the division, besides for Cincinnati. I do think they will improve upon last year because they had some momentum riding the end of the season. They played the Chiefs way better than the Bills did. I think as long as Baker just doesn't make interceptions, they can win with Chubb and Hunt. Let the defense do its thing. So that's the first time we have a different winner.
All right, I like it.
Do you have any wild cards from that division, if I may ask?
Cleveland is wild card.
Interesting.
Pittsburgh sucks.
Because I surprisingly do not, believe it or not.
I see. So you have Baltimore missing the playoffs.
They just missed the playoffs.
We'll have to remember that for later when we're talking about playoffs.
Yes, and the reason why is a gamble.
Huge differential there.
Yeah, and I think I know why. I know which team I have that you don't, but we're getting ahead of ourselves here.